So this whole chapter we've seen inequalities, and I just want to remind us of now what happens when we have variables on both sides. So I put question marks in these because there's an unknown number of apples in each of these boxes. And right now, if you notice, the scale is equal. They weigh the same amount. I'm actually going to replace these with x's just so that we practice writing out the equation. So on this side of the equal sign, I have 2 x's and plus 2 apples. And on this side, I have 1x plus 4 apples. So this is the equation that I'm looking to solve, which we did back in chapter 8. Equal. Now, the steps that we use to solve this equation are going to be the exact same when it's an inequality. So the first goal is to get the variables on the same side. Variables on same side. Okay, so when we do that, we can either move the x onto the left or we move the 2 on the right. Well, it's easier to get rid of 1x than it is to get rid of 2. So I'm going to get rid of an x on this side. So I'm going to get rid of it. It's gone. But if I do it to one side, I also have to do it to the other side. Now, what I'm left with, 2x's take away 1x, we're just left with 1x on this side. We're still left with those 2 apples. On this side, we have no more x's. We're just left with the 4 apples on this side. So now, let's delete that. This whole box, delete. Oops. And there we go. That one's gone. And this one is gone too. Okay, here we go. So we've worked through our scale. So that one's gone. This one's left. And so now we're left with x and 2 equals 4. Well, we still need to get that box by itself. So what we said is, well, I got to get rid of the variables, except for I have got to get rid of the constants now. Okay, so I've moved the variables onto the same side. Now I've got to get rid of the constants first. Get rid of constants. Okay, in this case, I have 2, so I'm going to take away 2, and what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I take away 2 here, they're gone. I have to take away 2 here, they're gone. All I'm left with now on this side is this x, and this x, 4 minus 2, weighs the same amount as 2 apples. So the way that we solve this is identical to what we would do if it was a inequality. Now, I'm not the best artist here, but what I'm trying to show is that this side is greater than, sorry, not equal to, it's greater than this side because it's heavier, right? There's more. So if I represent this, I got 2x plus 2 is less than x plus 4. Now, if we notice, that's the exact same equation we solved up here at the front. So let's work through it. Exact same way, we got to get the constants on the same side. So I'm going to take away an x here, take away an x here. Now, I am subtracting an x. I'm not dividing or multiplying an x. So I do not flip the signs. This is gone. I don't have an x here anymore, so I've got just 1x plus 2, still less than 4. Okay, still hasn't been any multiplication or division with negatives. Now I take away 2 from one side, take away 2 from the other side. I'm left with x is less than 2. And that would be my answer. Exact same as the question we did up here, except we have an inequality in the middle. So now let's try and solve one where we might have to flip the symbol in the middle. So instead of this equal sign, we're going to put an inequality there. And let's just say less than. All right. So common goal. Number 1 goal is to get the variables on the same side, right? We want all those missing baskets on the same side. So what I'm going to do, it's easier to move 2 than it is to move 5. So I'm going to do the opposite of positive 2x. Well, the opposite of minus 2x is plus 2x. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now, here's what's really important. I'm adding 2x. I'm not multiplying or dividing by negative, so the sign stays the same. So on this side, negative 5x plus 2x is negative 3x. That minus 4 is still there. The symbol remains the same. And we have positive 3 on this side because these cancel each other out. Now, we're so close. We just need to get the constants. We got to get rid of the constants now. So minus 4, the opposite of minus 4 is plus 4. And what I do to one side, I do to the other. Again, we're not multiplying or dividing by a negative. Okay, so these 4's cancel out. We're left with negative 3x on this side. The symbol stays the same. And 3 plus 4 is 7. Now, we got to unattach our constants or get rid of our coefficients. So the negative 3 is attached to the x with multiplication. So the opposite of that would be to divide one side by negative 3. Now, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now, here is the rule. I'm dividing by a negative number, which means that symbol has to flip. All I'm left with on this side is an x and 7 over 3 negative. Now remember, the negative can be on top, it can be in the middle, or it can be at the bottom. They mean the same thing. And that would be my final answer.